Hi, I'm Christian.
And I'm Angela, and we are married
And bored. Hey, welcome everybody to episode 4.
Yay, we're excited to be here.
We made it.
And so we've got a lot of fun things to talk about this episode.
Have a lot of fun things to talk about. We had a busy couple weeks with board games.
Yes, and we've been kind of releasing these at odd intervals because you have an actual full-time job.
Yeah, believe it or not. Yeah, we just don't do this podcast for all the money we get.
So thanks for hanging with us as we release these on a non-existent schedule.
Yeah, so let's just fly into it, Ange. What's up with you?
What's up with me? I think I went first last time.
I'll go first. Then,
oh, he's jumping right in.
I'm gonna soar right in.
All right,
there.
it'll give me time to brainstorm. Christian, what's up with you?
Man, what is up with me? I still really like Marvel Champions.
You better have more to say than just this.
It's no surprise. Here's the funny thing is in my head, it's an amazing game. And I haven't played it as much as I think about playing it. Does that make sense?
We've played it quite a few times, but it's in your mind.
Yeah, I'm constantly... It's everywhere on the forums I go to, Reddit, Facebook. I'm just a part of like so many groups that it's always in my face.
Okay, so besides just thinking about it, what's your news about it?
Oh, my news is it's still a really good game. But along with that, I did find those promo cards that I've been looking for since the game came out. So a whole 4 weeks.
He did it, you guys. He found them.
I was lucky enough to call a local game store, Games Depot, Tempe, Arizona.
Shout out.
Great store. And I asked if they had any promo cards because they had a opening event or launch event, that's the word, a few weeks ago. But they gave their customers like 24 hours notice or less than that.
That wasn't their fault though, right?
No, I think they got them super late and they wanted to get people in the store. And I get what happened, but I think I saw the post on Friday night at 5 p.m. And it was like, come tomorrow at noon. And I was like, yeah, that's not happening. So I was bummed that I wouldn't be able to get them. So I found them. I got all 5 heroes, a really cool playmat. And I'm just excited to play with those new cards, which we haven't done yet.
No, I guess we haven't.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be in the future.
And if you haven't seen them, they're super cool. You can check out a quick pic on Instagram. We posted those a few days ago.
Oh, yeah, we did. When you brought them home, we posted a picture.
They
check
look like
us out.
Little comic books. They are awesome. And in other Marvel news, this is just going to be all Marvel for me today.
Big surprise. Yeah. Christian's weekly update is Marvel.
FFG announced that all the new expansions, not all of them, they are packaging 3 of the 4 expansions to be released in January.
Woohoo!
There had been some confusion and like misinformation online on when these were all coming out. First, everyone was saying, "Hey, it's November," then it's December, and everything got pushed back to 2020, and people were getting upset. And they finally came out and announced that Captain America, Miss Marvel, and Green Goblin are all going to be released in January. So that's awesome. We get a huge influx of cards and newness to that game.
Any news about, is it once a month from there on?
Yes. Okay. So in February, they are doing one called Wrecking Crew, which they just announced a couple weeks ago.
That's right.
That one looks really neat. And beyond that, we don't know.
Ooh,
it's a mystery.
Stay tuned.
It's a Marvel mystery.
It is a Marvel mystery.
That's right. So, yeah, I am very excited for that, as are many fans of the game. So that's pretty cool.
You know, your face looks like you have more Marvel news.
I have more Marvel news, yeah. I'm trying to decide if I should get Marvel Crisis Protocol. Now, this is a new game that just launched, I think, like 2 weeks ago, maybe even less. And it's a miniatures game where you actually have to build your miniatures, like glue them all together, and you have to paint them, which I painted with my kids. A house.
Yeah, we use that term painted with the kids very loosely.
Yeah, a square house that I drew.
Yes.
And it looked like
it was
it wasn't it wasn't that much better than our 6-year-old. So I don't know if it's worth it to me to get that and paint. I would want them to look really nice. And if I don't want them to look like
I'm sure there's places where you can send them to be painted.
Oh, I'm sure. And I'm sure it's very expensive.
Well, and very lovely.
Yeah. It probably looks amazing. So
Well,
I'm debating that in my head for this holiday season to buy myself a Christmas gift.
Are you ready to share with them that you have had this secret ambition to paint miniatures?
Well, yeah, I think it'd be a good starting point. But I also don't want to like paint Captain America and have him look like, I don't know, like a blue blob.
So I'm picturing you like those old men that work on model airplanes with like the big.
Yeah, so the old guy in Toy Story 2 who's fixing Woody.
Yes.
That would be me with like telescoping lens and painting everybody. So I'm not sure if I'm ready to take that plunge, and that is my internal debate. Do I jump off the deep end and just do it? Do I practice on some of the older games that I have here so that I can mess up and not really matter as much?
I like that idea.
So I don't know. I don't know what to do. I heard it's a fun game. I haven't really done any like tabletop miniature games in this style. So who knows?
That'd be good.
Yeah. I am looking at the game constantly, of course. And I cannot make up my mind.
It does look cool.
Yeah, the models look awesome, and I just think I think it would look very cool when it's all done. I just don't know if I could do that.
You got to start somewhere.
I guess so. Yeah, so that's me. It's all Marvel. It's exciting. It's exciting that they are making a ton of Marvel board games, and I'm looking forward to what's next.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Mandalorian is awesome. If you're not watching that, you got to watch it.
That's not board game news. It's just a little...
No, but it's coming. It's got to be coming.
Yeah.
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 What about you, Ange? What's up?
Well, I had something to say, but now I think my news needs to be that I'm searching for another board game partner because my current one is painting miniatures for the rest of the year.
We're changing the podcast to a painting podcast. Audio only.
Yes.
Painting podcast, which makes perfect sense.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, assuming you'll still play board games with me and not devote all your time to painting. Guys, we got our Secret Santa gift.
Yeah.
If you remember from last episode, we told you about BGG and how we did a Secret Santa, board game Secret Santa. And we got our gifts, I should say. We were notified via the website.
Yeah, we got a message.
Had 2 packages coming, and so of course we're speculating, what does that mean? Are we getting a game and its expansion, or are we getting one thing from our list and then one thing that the person really likes and didn't see on our list, or what was coming? And so we are happy to announce we got Azul,
yes,
which is a tile game, and really we know nothing about it except that we've seen it on people's Instagram, we've seen it on the internet, and we are excited to try it.
Yeah, the box is very pretty.
It's very pretty. You should just look it up. I mean...
Yeah, it's like you make a mosaic tile or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
We literally opened it, looked at the tiles, and we're like, this is going to be different.
It's going to be good.
Yeah.
It's going to be good for us in a lot of ways because it's very different, and I think we can maybe even sneak in some extra players over the holiday season here with family in town, and it might be a more accessible one for our family.
Yeah, it's not bringing a super nerdy, be a Viking or be a super, like it's different, like I said, yeah.
And we got Wingspan European expansion.
Yeah, that was a surprise. I didn't think that we would get that one.
Yeah, that is very exciting. A big smile on my face, and we're gonna probably not talk about that much right now because that is going to be the rest of our episode, talking about Wingspan.
Yeah,
just a few minutes. So yeah, really excited that we got our Secret Santa gifts. It's feels like Christmas came early in the board game world for us, and now we're thinking we better send out to our person.
Yeah. We have technically until the end of the year to send our gift, which we will definitely do. But we didn't plan on doing it this early. And I don't think we both thought we would receive our gifts this early.
Yeah, I didn't know it would come right away. I think they kind of released the floodgates, so to speak, on November
like 15th or something.
18th, 20th, whatever. And then we got that notice that packages were coming in the mail probably within a day. Mm-hmm. And then we got the packages this week.
Yeah. So I will say that when the first one arrived, you were like, what did you order now? What is that? I was like,
did you order another game, Christian?
I honestly didn't order anything.
These purchases need to be approved by me.
And yeah, so once we realized what it was, we were excited to open it.
Yes, and I don't think it's spoiling too much to say that we have someone from St. Paul.
Oh yeah, that was kind of fun to find out.
Yeah, so we have someone from Minnesota. St. Paul is, one of the twin cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul. So we looked up the guy's
we know where
house.
Yeah. I mean, as creepy as that is, like, we're familiar with the area. So
we wanted to see the street.
Yeah. It was pretty cool to see where he lived, and we're familiar with where all that is.
And you guys, we looked on his list, and I got super excited. I don't even have to force my agenda because, Christian, what did he ask for?
One of the games, he had a longer wish list than us.
But what was one of the games on the wish list?
We did find Mansions of Madness.
You guys, I am mentioning it for the 4th time in a row on a podcast.
4 for 4.
So we will be getting him Mansions of Madness. If you live in St. Paul, Minnesota, and you get Mansions of Madness through the BGG Secret Santa, that was us,
that's
probably.
Us, yeah. And sorry for stalking you online.
It's just because we're from Minnesota and we want to know where the area.
Yeah, and people from Minnesota love Minnesota.
We're not creepy.
Yeah.
We promise. We're very nice.
You want to talk about birds?
Yeah, let's talk about some birds.
Let's do it.
All right, time for the main segment. Yeah. We are talking about Wingspan.
Wingspan, it's a great game.
It is by Stonemaier Games.
Yes.
And if you've never seen Stonemaier Games, they are very beautiful to look at.
Yeah, they're very well done. Their art is always on point. The quality of everything, great.
So if you're listening to this right now, I would encourage you to either right now or the soonest you can to either go on our Instagram or our website or even just Google Wingspan so you can see what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. Let me just describe the game.
Yeah, why don't you do that real quick?
All right, Wingspan is competitive. It's an engine-building card game for 1 to 5 players. So there is an automa, which is interesting. That's the 1-player version. Everyone is going to work independently in this game, and you're going to take on the role of a bird collector, trying to acquire different birds for their habitat. I almost can't say that without laughing because
it's a board game, or it's a card game about birds.
I'm not making fun of it because, as you'll see, I do like this game.
Yeah.
But success in this game comes through kind of a balance of collecting birds and their eggs and food for your birds, as well as keeping in mind some bonus cards and end of round goals. The core game has birds from North America only. And as we mentioned in the What's Up segment, we just received the first expansion, which includes birds from Europe.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Did I cover it all?
I think, yeah, that's a good description. Frankly, it sounds ridiculous.
It does sound a little ridiculous.
And it took a little bit of convincing for you to want to buy it.
Sure. So before we go into categories, should we explain how it came about that I was okay with this purchase?
We were familiar with the company who created the game because we have Scythe and we love that game.
True. We have Scythe. So yes. It wasn't out of nowhere.
Yeah. And we were looking for a game, honestly, to talk about on the podcast would be a great one, and a 2-player game, one that we can play together and learn easily. And all year, I just kept on seeing Wingspan everywhere. Mm-hmm. It was so popular when it came out.
So then you had me watch something.
Yeah, I made you watch a YouTube video of a review, which you normally don't like to do, but I do
not normally like that.
Yeah, this was the Dice Tower review. Tom Vassell, who's, board game internet king.
All hail.
Yeah, he had a great review, and it convinced you.
It did. His review convinced me to look into this game, that it wasn't. I mean, Christian was like, "There's this bird game," and I was like, "Bird, all right, okay, maybe."
Yeah, like,
then,
am I a bird, like a human bird with a sword on my back, or like
yeah,
a fantasy kind of bird?
I mean, I've played creatures before. We've done mice and mystics,
Yeah.
and so I was like, "Okay, tell me more." And then it was, "You're gonna take on the role of a bird collector." I was like, "Well, this isn't really intriguing to me," but as you'll see, you can't always judge a book by its cover.
Well, you can with this one because it looks really nice.
Okay, but I meant you can't always judge a game by its theme. Is that what I'm trying to say?
Sure. Yeah, you know what we're trying to say.
Okay, let's get into these categories so you guys can get a better picture of what this game's like.
Yeah, and number one is always for us is ease of setup and tear down. It's important for us, we'll say it again, that we don't have a lot of time to play, so getting it out on the table and set up is really key for a nice evening, and getting it off the table is also key so that we can have breakfast the next morning. Or
Yes.
our kids don't wake up and shove it all
destroy
off
the game.
the table.
All right, so this one gets an A+.
Yeah, this is super easy to set up. There's a lot of components. There's a lot of little tokens and chits, I guess you could say. There's food tokens. There's so many cards.
There are not real. There's not cardboard is what I'm trying to say. There are wooden eggs.
I think they're resin, but yeah.
Resin, okay.
Yeah. They're 3D, so it's not like a token.
Rewind. They're not real eggs.
No.
There are literal eggs. No, they are just not cardboard, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and they're 3D, so it's kind of cool. Like when you set them up on your board, you can see the eggs, and it adds a layer of just visual appeal that's really neat.
So there are some components, like you've described, but it doesn't take long to arrange them and set up your play area, especially after you initially set it up. I mean, it's a breeze after learning the game. Teardown's even easier.
Yes.
Everything fits nicely in the box.
Yeah, one of the greatest things about this game is how nicely it fits in the box. And on the side of the box, I don't even know if you know this, there's a diagram on where everything goes.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And so I don't know where everything goes. I have to look at it every time because I don't remember. But you just look at the side and it says, oh, you put this here and that there. And then it fits. And the box closes. The lid closes all the way. It's awesome.
There is an amazing case for the cards.
Yeah.
That it comes with. And the expansion comes with another case for the cards.
Yeah, an extra case.
They just make the setup and teardown really easy. You know how sometimes you just open a game and once you unbox it, it doesn't fit back in the box.
Yeah, or it doesn't fit well.
Yes.
Just all loosey-goosey in there.
Yeah. And that doesn't necessarily ruin the game experience, but it is kind of a wah-wah.
Well, you kind of worry about the pieces inside, like, are the cards going to be all bent and weird? Or because, plug your ears if you have to. Like, we don't sleeve all of our cards. Only some of the games.
Oh, shame.
So, yeah, I mean, we don't use rubber bands on most of them, but we have been known to do that. And so you just never know if something's rattling around, if it can get nicked or bent or whatever.
Yeah. So this one gets an A+ in setup and teardown.
Yeah, it's very easy. It makes everything so much easier.
Mm-hmm. How accessible is learning to play? Category 2.
It's pretty easy.
Absolutely. I would agree.
Yeah, there's not a ton of rules. I think the hardest part is just realizing what goes where and what cost what. And
that takes a little bit to get used to, but the play board itself actually helps you. Everyone gets their own play board and there are symbols that direct you.
Yeah, should we just explain quickly how you play, and just so that people know that it is easy to do? Because you mentioned everyone has a play board.
Everyone has a play board, and then I don't know if I want to explain all the rules.
No, I mean there's just different there's different actions to take that are laid out on that board.
Correct.
different places to find your birds and to put your birds that change those actions throughout the game.
Yeah.
That's super stripped down rules, but that's like the gist of what it is.
Yeah, so your board will remind you what happens when it'll tell you, like, now activate all the brown powers in this row.
Yeah.
Like, it'll remind you to do that. So that's nice. It would be even easier to learn how to play, like we always say, if someone at the table knows how to play.
Definitely.
And we haven't been constantly looking up rules.
No, that's awesome.
So, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but some games, there is so much involved that, at least for myself, I find myself constantly looking up rules, returning to the rule book, or even like going on the internet trying to find out what this card means or what this situation calls for.
Right.
We haven't done that at all.
No, there's a lot of games where order of operations can get kind of fuzzy, and you don't know what triggers first. This one is very straightforward. There's one rule that I continue to mess up every game, and it's like the very first rule. It's like, how many food do you start with? I have no idea.
But you're playing with someone that does remember.
That's true. So literally every time we played this, I've been like, okay, so do I keep 2 or 3? And that's the only rule that confuses me.
That's pretty minimal.
Yeah.
If that's the only thing you're getting caught up on. I would say even for people who aren't familiar with board games, this is really easy and accessible to learn. There's no like board game lingo like ready or exhausted.
No, you are just laying birds out in front of you, and you are reading the cards when you're supposed to read the cards.
Yep.
It's pretty cool.
Straightforward for learning how to play.
And I would say it's you mentioned like a good gateway game or like a starter game for someone who's not really into board games. So like we mentioned earlier with Azul, it's a good one for the holiday.
Exactly.
When we're hanging out with family who may not do all this gaming.
If you can convince them that a bird collecting theme, like Christian convinced, or I should say Tom Vassell convinced.
Yeah, maybe you should start with your grandparents. Maybe they would enjoy talk about birds.
Especially if your grandma is a bird watcher.
That's right.
Okay, how immersive is this experience, Christian?
So immersive for this game, it's not crazy immersive. I would just say it's somewhat immersive. I don't feel like a bird watcher, or like I don't know if like scientist is the right word, where you're just going out and like studying birds. Like,
what's the bird word? What's it called? Look it up.
Birding?
No. There's a
like
word.
A bird scientist?
Yeah.
We'll have to look that up and figure that out.
Someone needs to write us in.
Aviator. No, avians. I don't know. Yeah. So
it bother me.
The actions you're taking, you don't feel like you're
a bird collector.
Yeah. You're just looking at the cards and trying to better your situation.
Yes. I would agree with that assessment. Somewhat immersive.
Yeah.
I will explain a couple things that make it immersive.
Yeah, what is the somewhat equal?
Okay, so it's somewhat immersive because the artwork and the game boards are just beautiful. So you're going to be drawn in with that. The card abilities on the birds, oftentimes, probably not always, there's so many bird cards, it can't be always, but mimic what the bird does in real life.
Yeah, explain that. So like the owls, what do they do?
Yeah, so the owls, they can, I'm thinking of the owl you had last night when we played. Every time that you activate that owl, you're allowed to roll dice that are outside the bird feeder, and if there's a rat, the owl catches it, so to speak, and puts it on their card.
Yeah, it like hunts.
Yeah.
So for specific food. And
yes.
So anytime you roll that in a specific situation, your owl takes it.
Mm-hmm.
There's ones that are similar to that do fish in the same manner.
Yep.
Some do berries. Some are like predator birds, like hawks.
And they can tuck birds.
Yeah, so they seek out other birds, and in real life they would kill them. But right. In this game, you just kind of take it and you put it under that card to signify that it caught that bird.
Yes.
It's pretty cool.
So it does mimic what most of these birds do in real life. That's neat. There's facts about the birds on the card.
Yeah, which I always forget. It's crazy.
It really can't overstate how beautiful the cards are.
Yeah. Here's a good fun fact. Did you know that the yellow-breasted chat is a bird that likes dense thickets?
Thank you for that.
Yeah, and they are often heard more than seen. There's a fun bird fact for you.
That is straight from one of the cards in Wingspan. You know what? Should we just quit the podcast right now and just read all the bird facts?
Yeah, let's go through all like 400 cards and go through it. But yeah, that's the cool stuff. Like sometimes I'm playing the game looking through these cards and being like, oh man, that is a cool looking bird. Or look at this one. This one has a big head or something.
Yes.
Something funny like that.
And weird side note, our daughter was assigned a
project.
A report for her class, and it was on an owl.
Yeah.
And we looked it up in Wingspan.
Yeah, and we found it. It was great.
Yeah.
She didn't learn anything from the card, but it was there and it was cool.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah,
bonus.
One other thing too is like one of the actions in this game is laying eggs, and certain birds can only lay a certain number of eggs
or keep a certain number in their nest.
Yeah, and so I feel like there's probably some science behind the reason why they chose that many eggs for that bird.
Yeah.
Like I don't think a swan has like 7 eggs at one time.
Yeah.
Maybe they do. I don't know.
Yeah, and there's certain types of nests.
Like the bigger birds can only hold one egg.
Yep.
But like the little like finches, you can put like 6 eggs on that card.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
So that part is what bumps it up to somewhat immersive. I think Christian's saying like, did we feel like we were bird collectors?
I was not in the forest looking for a osprey or
no,
whatever.
We didn't feel like we were bird collectors, like we felt. Should we reference back to Abomination?
Yeah,
we felt the theme of that one.
Yeah.
We felt the spookiness. We felt like we were building a monster. This one, no, but it is somewhat immersive.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. All right, fun factor.
It is a fun game.
It is a fun game.
We enjoy playing this game. It's a funny game. It's competitive, and it doesn't put you at each other's throats,
which I appreciate.
Yeah, so like the competitive is really soft competitive. And there's not a lot of player interaction either. You are mostly only concerned with what's going on in your little bird world. Right in the 8 cards that you put, because you try to get the most points possible by the end of the game. Yes,
I think that's a good way to describe it. When we play this game, it's not that we don't interact with each other. Like, we talk to each other. It's not silent at the table. But usually, I am not paying attention to Christian's turn. His turn does not affect me. So I guess you could say he's on the honor system and so am I. Like, I'm planning out my next turn, and it has very, very little to do with what he does.
Yeah, the worst thing you can do is take a bird from the public bird list that anybody can take from. If I think that I want a Cooper's hawk, for example, and Angela also wants that, she can and it's her turn, she can take that before me. And then I just have to adjust. Right, but there would really be no way for me to know you want that. No, there wouldn't be, and I wouldn't be.
Unless you told me.
Yeah.
So I mean, is there a way you could accidentally mess with someone? Yes. But again, there's so many birds in the deck that it's not like you're holding out for the one card and all your hopes are riding on this one card. So it's a very independent style of play. And I think we're trying to say it's fun because it's so different. And if this, I think, I'll speak for myself, if this were the only type of play experience we had, that would be lacking. But because so many, if not all of our other games are very interactive, either we're a co-op against the game or we're directly affecting each other and competitively.
Or looking up rules a whole
bunch. Like, this is a nice kind of, it's a nice break from that.
Yeah, it's very easy once you get going, and I would say it's a fun game. We enjoy playing this one. It's one of our favorites. We've probably played this one more than any game that we own in the past 6 weeks.
Yes, and I will continue to break it out and disperse it into our other gameplay.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's very fun. Say it again. But Ange, is it worth it?
It is worth it.
Our final category.
It's definitely worth it, you guys. There are so many bird cards.
Yeah.
I mean, we should probably have the exact number in front of us.
Well, you could get a black skimmer.
Okay.
You could get a common nighthawk.
Sure.
An Atlantic puffin.
Oh, the puffin.
A wood stork. There's so many birds.
Christian's going to now read all 500 bird cards.
This black skimmer bird, though, this would be one where the interaction would be a little bit more, because I'd just be like, look at this weird bird. And I would stop the game to show you this bird.
We do often do that. Normally our interaction in this game is like, what the hell kind of bird is that you just
like this one has a funny head, or this one, look at the feet on, like and it's always fun to see one that you recognize too.
Yes. And we're like, oh, it's the blue jay.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, I don't really want the blue jay.
I think I got the robin. I got a robin the other night, and the cost to play it was so much that I was so mad that a little robin took like 4 food or something that I discarded it.
Well, okay. So the point is, there's many, many, many birds cards.
So many birds. And the expansion that you mentioned added
brings more birds.
More birds from Europe and Asia, which is cool because we obviously don't see those birds, and so they're all new to us, and they look great, and their names are funny like all the other birds, and it's just, I feel like in a weird way you're like learning stuff too. So
it's educational.
Yeah.
Play this with the family. And then there's also bonus cards which affect your play, because the bonus card could be secretly awarding you for collecting certain types of birds, like birds that only eat fish.
Yeah, at the beginning of the game, everybody has like a secret quest that they're going on and to try to collect birds or food or stuff like that. So that changes every time. Yep.
So and there's bonus cards and new ones added in with the expansion. And this is probably not the last expansion.
I would think not. There's so many birds.
Right. There's just, I mean, how many? It blows your mind. These are there's this many birds in the world. And so
I'm looking forward to the Chicken of the Sea expansion. Do you think they'll do that?
No.
No, okay.
That's not a bird.
well
we're gonna have to do some education after the podcast. So, all that being said, there's so many ways to play. There's 1 to 5 players, so we've only played 2 players.
Yeah, we are super looking forward to playing with more, as we say with every game we've talked about on this podcast. But it's so easy to play with 2. I would say probably one of the main reasons that we like this game so much is that it takes 45 minutes.
Yeah. From
setup to I don't want to play a game every night of the week. And
this you heard it here, guys. He is not full into this.
I love playing when we do, but to do it every night, especially with some of those games that take forever to set up.
Okay, yes.
This one, if you just want a quick gaming experience, this is the game. It's so easy to do, and that's why we've played it so much in the past few weeks.
Yes. And it has an Automa, and I'm usually the one that likes to play these one-player games.
Have you done that with this one yet?
I played Automa with Scythe. I played one player with Marvel Champions.
Just not this one yet.
I haven't done it with this one.
Okay. We'll have to check that out. I'm sure it's great.
Stay tuned.
They usually all are. Mm-hmm. But we always are together when we're playing games, so there's no point.
But yes, all that to say is definitely worth it.
Yeah, even... We should say without the expansion, it's totally worth it. We just got that, so we're mentioning it a lot, so it's changing the experiences for us. But if you just buy the core box, you're getting so many bird cards, so many eggs, so much to do in one game.
Yeah, we shuffled in the expansion last night or the night before when we played, and I think every other turn we were like, oh, there's a new bird. Nope, that's from the original.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a new. Oh no, that's from the original because there's so many in the original. We just haven't seen them all.
All right, pop quiz, Ange.
Oh, he's interspersing the bird cards again.
Is a mountain bluebird, is that a new card from the expansion or an original Wingspan bird?
Okay, I'm going to go, mountain. That makes me think of the North American territories.
Yeah, that's correct. These birds can be found in the prairies above the tree line. It's a cool bird. Look at that.
I'm sweating a little after answering that question.
Yeah, they don't have these in Arizona, that's for sure.
All right, well, up next, we'll talk about what we learned about each other.
So we are married and we play games.
Let's talk about what we learned or discovered, what this game brought out in our marriage.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good way to describe it.
And both of these things we alluded to when we were talking about the categories.
Yeah, I don't think we can talk about that game without talking about this.
Yes. So the first thing that this game brought out was that in the past we've separated our gameplay or our game library into competitive and cooperative.
Right.
And those have been very black and white categories, especially in my head. So we've said we play competitive games. We usually like cooperative games for our marriage because we're on the same team. Competitive games tend to bring out hurt feelings.
Yes.
Yeah. Which we're getting better at. But this Wingspan actually hit a very sweet spot in the competitive.
Yeah, I think I mentioned earlier that it was like a soft competitive game. Like it's not.
It's a good way to put it.
It's not in your face like Destiny or like Magic the Gathering, where I am directly affecting your play area by what I do. Mm-hmm. If I kill your mage or whatever in Magic, you can't use that anymore. Yep. I'm not a hunter hunting your birds. Mm-hmm. I'm just worried about
your own collection.
My own collection, and I'm trying to get the most points.
Mm-hmm. I think we were talking about this last night and just thinking, so in my mind, this is a very nice level of competitiveness. It's I didn't realize in my own brain that there's maybe different levels of competitiveness, but now I'm starting to separate them as like seeing it more of a scale instead of like two categories. So cooperative, competitive.
And now there's like a middle zone.
So I'm seeing competitive on a scale where just off the top of my head, I'm seeing, Star Wars Destiny in the red for competitive. It's directly killing my characters.
Yes.
And then I'm seeing things like maybe Keyforge, maybe more towards like the orangey yellows.
But for you, that game is still definitely on.
Yeah, so it's more towards the red.
Competitive side.
But then you've got Wingspan here, which is sitting, I guess if I'm looking at the color scale, like in this soft blue area of competitiveness.
It's just right in the middle.
Yeah, it's very nice. And I know this is probably not going to sound like I'm selling the game when I say this, but playing against each other is almost like playing solo. It's almost like playing solitaire, except the computer is another person. Sure. So you don't feel like you're hurting each other or affecting each other at all.
No, I think the main thing that you can figure out is just maybe like what the other person's strategy is based on how their birds are laid out on their board. That's about all I can really do, and just try to figure out, well, I guess she's going for eggs, so I should try to get my points not elsewhere, but just keep up. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I almost think that like trying to figure out someone else's strategy and thwart their strategy would take so much effort on your part that you wouldn't be able to complete your quests and missions and bonuses. But someone out there might be proving me wrong. I just think it's broadened my horizon for what competitive games are.
Yeah, I think that's cool. I think Abomination might fit in there a little bit
Yeah.
for you. Like
Yeah.
it's definitely competitive. I've lost terribly at it, but it's not in your face competitive.
No, there's definitely ways we can affect each other more in that game than in Wingspan, but it's not like Keyforge or Star Wars Destiny.
Right. Yeah.
And then another thing we were talking about that this game brought out and what we learned is that maybe interacting with each other in the ways that we always have with board games, where we're directly talking to each other to figure out a strategy, especially with cooperative games, isn't always a necessity. Christian mentioned that sometimes he just doesn't have the brain capacity after a full workday to sit and strategize and figure out. Sometimes you just want to chill out with a movie or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this game is a board game where you can just chill out.
Yeah. Or you can do both because it's so short.
Yeah.
Like the other night we did that. We watched a show. And
it's probably Mandalorian.
It probably was. I wasn't going to mention it again.
Oh, okay.
It's awesome. We watched that and then we played Wingspan and it was cool.
So I think I mentioned that it's kind of like we can enjoy each other's company, but we're not talking to each other
we're
about...
not in this like mental state of trying to strategize and win. And
yeah,
I'm just showing Angela pictures of an eastern bluebird from the card deck that I just drew.
Oh, that's a very pretty one.
Yeah, it's pink and blue.
Can you hold that up for everyone to see?
Yeah, this is perfect.
Oh, we're on a podcast. Okay.
Carolina chickadee. Look at that.
That's a beauty.
Yeah.
I know we're tempting you with all these birds. So maybe interacting in the way we always have with board games isn't always a necessity, and maybe there's been a recognition for us that Wingspan fits a cool niche
Yeah.
in our gameplay. It's kind of like we're just reading next to each other.
Yeah, interaction is good, no matter how intense or how little it is.
Mm-hmm.
It helps. It's better than me going in my office and reading or playing a computer game and you reading on the couch.
True, which would be very independent tasks.
Yes.
And so this is like an independent task, but we get to be...
But together.
Yeah, around the table together. I know this is probably not selling it for everyone out there, but it's a good way. It's a good way that you want to work this game into your play experience because it's so unique.
Yeah, and it's not like we sit in silence. We're still chatting.
No, we chat about the birds, guys.
It's just fun. It's a really laid back experience. No pressure.
No
Most
pressure.
of our games have been super close too. It's not like anybody runs away with the game. It's like usually 5 points max.
Christian beat me by 12 the other night, and I'm actually not that sour about it. That's another thing about this game.
I did win by 12, and I was very proud of that victory.
That was a very high score.
I laid so many eggs in that game.
So many eggs. Well, we should probably amend that. You yourself are not the bird.
That's true. I did not do that.
His birds were laying eggs.
I did. We have, it's continuing to be played a lot, and we're having an awesome time playing it.
So instead of the phrase Netflix and chill,
yeah,
can I coin Wingspan and chill?
I guess. I think you just did.
Okay, but not with the
chilling,
the correlation.
Yeah, there you go.
That popular culture has. That's another part of our marriage.
Well, that was Wingspan, Angela. We had fun, and we wanted to give a shout out to a couple people this week who sent us messages.
Yes.
Like we do, we always love when you guys write in and you answer the question of the week from the previous episode or any of the episodes, or just say stuff about board games.
Yeah, if you write in, I mean, unless we start getting hundreds of these every episode, we will mention you. Unless you specifically say, please do not mention us. So if you're afraid of being mentioned, you can just put a little...
Yeah. And like Jason wrote in and he answered a couple questions from a few episodes. I think we asked in the Marvel one, like, what heroes are you most looking for?
You asked me as a surprise pop-up question in that episode.
Right. I did. So he's surprise pop-upping us.
What did he say?
So he's looking forward to Deadpool, which is pretty cool. I think they could do a lot of fun things with that. If you don't know Deadpool, he breaks the fourth wall a lot, so he talks to the audience. So I don't know how that would work in a card game, but there could be some really weird things that happen.
All I can do is think of Ryan Reynolds.
Well, is that bad?
No, it's not bad. Okay, and what else did Jason say?
And he's looking forward to a few games that he wants.
That was our question.
Yeah, for the holidays, right?
Yes.
He's looking forward to Dune, which just came out. I'm with him on that. Like, I want to play that game. I have tried so many times to read that book, and I would know so much more about the game if I could just read this book. But I get to the same part every time, and I never finish it.
Christian's New Year's resolution for 2020 is to read Dune.
Just one book. So, yeah, it looks like a great game. It looks like it's right up my alley. So, yeah, Jason, let's play it. And Shadows of Brimstone is another one he's looking at. It looks like he says it's a dungeon crawler, kind of like D&D, but a board game version of that. So that looks definitely very interesting. There's a lot of minis and dragons and creatures. So that looks cool.
Awesome. And I know it's not an official write-in, but I want to give a shout out to Doug J. Morris at Doug J. Morris on Instagram.
Yeah.
Thank you for telling us that you listen to our podcast during work. We love it when people, first of all, listen. And then also, if we can help you get through a work day.
I think that's pretty awesome. I actually reached out to him and asked, how did he find us, just out of curiosity. And he was just searching Spotify about board games and found us. And
it's amazing.
It turns out him and his wife game all the time. He's got some cool board game shots on his Instagram too. So thanks for listening, Doug. It's awesome.
Yes.
We're happy you're here.
Absolutely. All right. So what question do we have for the people this week?
The question for this episode, it is Thanksgiving week. And so we want to tie it to that. Hopefully you're having Thanksgiving with your families and you're going home. You're having people over, friends.
Yep.
And we want to know, what is a game that you remember playing when you were a kid?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Do you have an answer for that one? Off the cuff?
Oh, okay. All right. Off the cuff. Here we go. I remember playing Acquire.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I do not like that game.
Anyone out there remember Acquire?
My friend John loves that game.
Okay. Well, John, you know who you are. Acquire is...
He tries to get me to play that game all the time, and I cannot do it.
Well, I didn't say I loved the game.
Oh, okay.
The question was just, what do I remember playing?
It's just bringing out such emotion from me.
Yeah. Well, I gotta flip the question on you now. What do you remember playing?
There's two that pop into my mind, and they both have to do with pizza.
Okay. I don't have any clue what we could be talking about.
One of them, I don't know if it was like a pizza memory game, and there's just toppings that you put on pizza or took them off. My sister and I played that all the time. I don't even know what it's called, but there's a pizza game.
It's probably called
Pizza Pie.
Pizza Memory.
Yeah. I don't know. I remember having a lot of fun with that. And the other one, to be fair, is not totally about pizza. Okay. It's Ninja Turtles, which they love pizza. There was a Ninja Turtles versions of spoons. So instead of reaching for a spoon, you reached for a turtle shell. And I used to trick my sister all the time into getting distracted, so I would just take the shell. We played that a lot, and I just remember having fun with that.
I have never heard you mention that game ever.
Yeah, those are the two that popped into my head right now.
I've known you for more than 15 years.
Well,
and we've never had a chance to talk about the turtle shell game.
Yeah, or pizza mystery pizza game.
So we hope to learn more things about you through that question.
And we're learning more about each other just right now.
Absolutely. Let's see what kind of conversations you can bring up with your partner as you discuss what game you played as a child.
And definitely reach out and let us know what that game or games is or are. You can hit us up on our website, marriedandboard.com, Instagram @marriedandboard. I think that's it, Ange.
Yep. We also hello@marriedandbored.com.
Yeah, you can email us. That'd be good.
And remember, don't count your eggs before they hatch.
Is that how the phrase goes?
I don't know. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Married and Bored podcast. And guess what? We have a website. You can listen to podcast episodes and so much more at www.marriedandbored.com. You can also email us at hello@marriedandbored.com or follow us on Instagram @marriedandbored. Music in this episode is by Joseph McDade. See you next time.
Hey, Ange, guess what bird this is?
Okay.
I can't do it.
Oh, that's a pigeon. That's a pigeon.
Yeah, what do you got? It's pretty good. Pretty good.